going to record as well, right?
Oh, I'm supposed to be talking now, huh?
Usually.
Well, we're still new to this. This week on Erotic Awakening, Hodgepodge version 4, and a lot of other stuff.
Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
The Erotic Awakening podcast, and as well as workshops by Dan and Dawn, are offered free of charge to our community.
Because of the expenses involved, we're grateful to those that support us through Patreon and donations.
That includes Daniel and
Oh, you going to try it?
I'm going to try it. Jitan Julie.
Ooh.
Is that how you'd say it?
That's how I would say it.
Thank you
Awesome.
both for being Patreon supporters. Hi,
Awesome.
Dawn.
Hi, Dan.
So today on the podcast, we are live on YouTube.
Nice.
And we got our little live chat thing going there, just in case
do
anybody
we?
joins us, wants to
Awesome.
interact with us. And we're recording it for the regular podcast as well. Every once in a while, we simply do a hodgepodge show where we've got a ton of little topics, but we don't have a full-scale topic to knock out. And that's going to be what we've got today. We just had a barrage of little itty-bitty things we're going to talk about. Upcoming shows, we're going to do our retrospective of 2020.
We are. So this is almost Christmas of 2020. So sometime in the next, probably within the next two shows, we'll do a whole review of 2020 and what we've done, not done, the challenges, the joys, because there have been some joys mixed in with there. Absolutely. So and we usually do this near the end of the year. So yeah, we'll do something like that.
We'll talk about that. But start off, before we get into, all right, stepping backwards. Speaking of 2020, before we talk about 2020, if you want to jump out there to kexp.com, you'll see a list of the 2020 best songs ever, according to some people that voted.
2020 best songs ever.
Yes.
Really?
Well, let me just...
I like KEXP anyway.
I like not KEXP. No, XPN. XPN out of Philadelphia.
I thought you said something else. So
No,
say
XPN
it
out
once
of
again.
XPN.com.
XPN.
WXPN out of Philadelphia.
Got it.
It's an interesting list. Some of my favorite... I checked Peter Gabriel listed.
Good.
Yes, listed many times.
Did you check Queen for me?
Queen listed.
Nice.
Kate Bush listed. Many other are
Ooh.
listed.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Bruce Springsteen not only has the number one song, but has like 12 songs in the 2020. And I'm like, I understand Springsteen's been around a long time. He's got some good songs. Maybe
Yeah.
because because XPN is in Philadelphia. It's right next to New Jersey.
Maybe. I mean, you take the speed line and you're right there in
That's true.
Haddonfield, Jersey, or, someplace Jersey, and you can take it straight to Philly. But
Nothing to do
we
with
know
today's
this only
topic.
because we've done it before.
Yes.
For a Peter Gabriel concert, mind you. But Bruce Springsteen?
I thought the same
I don't
thing.
even like Bruce Springsteen.
Well, just-
Sorry, Bruce Springsteen. If you're listening to our podcast, we love you. But
We were just guest on the Play Party podcast. And these guys, go check out the Play Party podcast. You'll hear the interview with us coming up. But they're on about show 50, and they are tech savvy. They understand how all this stuff works.
they actually edit.
Not only do they edit their podcast, but like they mentioned, we were talking about our favorite video game at some point, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we better hashtag the developer of the video game in case."
Right.
And they're like, "You can't do that on a King." You can't. Okay, so apparently they're very wise in the way of social media. We, on the other hand, this is our third live YouTube podcast. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we still have to address is you'll see that every once in a while we're looking up because our monitor is a little bit too high and our camera's over here and our notes are down here. We're not quite sure of how to work that out yet. We are not tech savvy wise.
We need to get the monitor to come down just a little bit.
Yes, we should completely blame Tammy for this, by the way. Tammy, if you're listening, you know why. You know what that means. You know what that's about. What else you got going on, Dawn? So one of the things I wanted to mention is speaking of Tammy, 3 years ago, we first met Tammy at a Power Exchange Summit, and they said we have to get a Kick channel going. Is that what it is?
Yeah, K-I-K. Yes, Kick
And
channel.
we said, sure, one day we'll do that. Well, 3 years later, we finally did it. And
I actually blamed her for all the noise that was going on the other night during my OWL meeting.
How so?
Because something was going on Kick. So I'm on OWL. I've turned notifications off on everything else. And all of a sudden, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, Tammy, you did this to me. She's like, I turned mine off. I'm like,
boom, there you go.
I didn't think about it.
It's actually been fun.
Yeah.
She was totally right about that. It's a great way to interact with the listeners, but great way to interact as just as people, right? One of the great things about that is when we join the Kick channel, when we're on there chatting, it's not like we're anybody other than just two people that happen to be on the Kick channel along with everybody else. So if that's something you dig, I think you search.
I don't know how to search. You gave me a little thingy that they can, like a little code.
Yep.
So out on one of the newsletters, I put that out there. So I'll have to send it again. You're writing a note?
I'm going to repost that code. I'm writing a little note here
Cool.
on my new schmancy notebook. Oddly
Awesome.
enough, on a quick sidebar,
Yes?
the directions for this notebook said explicitly, do not microwave.
Really?
Apparently the company that makes this notebook
Yes.
makes a version of it that if you microwave it, it kind of erases it.
Oh,
So it's always clean?
This version, no.
Don't do that. No.
Okay, good to know.
Which is funny because I would not have thought. I better microwave my...
Right.
When are we going to talk about kink and sex and BDSM and Power Exchange?
Maybe in a little bit.
All right, we're getting there. So the Kick channel, a lot of fun. If you want to interact with us, feel free to jump on there, join. A lot of great topics for a podcast. Unfortunately, we checked it too late. But so now we have this great list of podcast topics that we're going to be presenting soon.
Yeah.
And one of the fun little things I want to mention real quickly is one of the people on our channel, their nickname or scene name or whatever you call it on Kick is Cute Little Dead Girl. And look, I don't want to yuck on anybody's yum, but I asked him, what is that? Because if that's your kink, then no, for me. Just saying for me.
Right.
Anyway, apparently, if you YouTube Cute Little Dead Girl, there's a little web series about Lenore, the cute little dead girl. If you remember, what was the Tree Friends? Do you remember the YouTube show Happy Tree Friends?
Oh, I don't remember.
It's almost like that. I'm not sure if that's right, but same level of,
Okay.
like the first episode. I'll give you away. I hate
So
spoiler.
it's not like, Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain.
No. Have you ever seen those little toys where you squeeze them and the little eyes pop out?
Yes.
And then you let go and the eyes pop back in?
Yes.
So Lenore on the first episode, and I'm giving away the first episode, so this will tell you if you want to watch this or not. Look, see, it is Happy Tree Friends. Same thing. Somebody in chat just mentioned Happy Tree Friends. Yeah, it's same sort of thing. So Lenore says, I want one of those squeezy things. And she wanders into a pet store and she grabs a hamster. I'm just going to leave it right there.
I may have to watch that.
If you want to find our Kick code and everything else that Dawn puts in the newsletter, head over to eroticawakening.com and get your EA shout out.
Just sign up for the occasional newsletter. I try to get it out once a month, and we've got so much stuff going on anymore that I really am getting good at getting it out once a month. It'll give you the latest podcast news, plus discounts on books and more. Just head over to eroticawakening.com.
So because of the request in the chat here, Dawn, do your best. Charlie.
No, because now that I'm
The
now that they
unicorn.
want me to do it,
You can't do it?
I can't do it.
Charlie.
Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Ah, God damn it. I'm not going. Just let me sleep. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right, not too bad, huh, folks? All right. At some point, we'll get to the kink. So, prior to doing the YouTube, I was testing, we're using this OBS software, and I've got it linked into the Rodecaster Pro, and we've got this all cycled into the Mevo camera and posting up on the display. So I had to test all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what I was doing, so I launched it, and I thought it was private, right? I thought I was just doing it for myself.
Oh, no.
And then Fritz writes in, Fritz B says, why you got to tease me like this, Dan? I saw fresh new video notifications waiting for them, and they're 3 seconds, and you just, so apparently I'm edging. I am edging Fritz, which is cool. Shun!
Shun the non-believer.
Dawn, what is your opinion on finger banging?
On finger banging?
Yes.
I like it.
Good. I'm just trying to get some kink into the Erotic Awakening podcast.
Oh, got it. You know,
No,
actually,
seriously, though.
I do.
All right. Tell people what finger banging is.
Finger banging?
Yes.
I'm assuming it's fingering somebody.
See, I call that fingering.
Okay, so what would you say finger banging is?
So,
Is
in
it like
my view,
slamming a finger in?
give me a hand.
Okay.
So,
Wait. Okay.
right, this is fingering.
Right.
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 Isn't that nice?
Here, let's. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had 12 children.
Hey, I like fisting too.
Okay,
Don't
all right.
tell me I have a cavern.
Right. Fingering. Finger banging.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute. Don't clench. When you're like,
Well-
give it back. So finger banging is that.
Yeah, I like that too. So fucking hard with fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like it
As well.
as well.
Time and a place, or it's always appropriate.
Well, it depends who's it with. I mean, if I'm out to tea with somebody, I don't particularly need a finger banging right then. But sexual-wise?
So, yeah, sexual. What the fuck are you talking about?
You said any time is inappropriate.
I'll say
So
yes,
most of the
sexually
time,
wise.
yes. Most of the time, yes.
Good for foreplay.
Good for foreplay? Man, that's kind of like in the deep part of a scene, I would think, the way
Yes.
I'm picturing it. So
Good.
for foreplay? No, not in my world. So foreplay would be more fingering. So something that would build the heat up. To me, finger banging is once the heat's already there.
I love the fact that our interactive chat, people all like, oh, happy tree friends, Charlie the Unicorn. We're talking about finger banging. They got nothing. They're like, oh, I give nothing away here, what I like. I'm curious
Well,
what
that was
you
a
guys like.
random topic.
Well, this is the Random Topic Podcast. If you're just joining us, this is the Random Topic Podcast.
Exactly.
Today,
So
we do have a variety of kink things to talk about, power exchange, think about just little minuets of things that we're trying to get through. Not full topics, just little bits.
Oh, and some
For
of them
example.
are just questions I'm just asking you out of the blue. 'Cause
Such
I'm
as?
curious. So, let's see. It's 2020. You're working from home.
Okay, go on. Remember, we're not doing the 2020 show yet.
I know,
Go on.
but what are you doing to take care of yourself?
Working from home has been huge to take care of myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Horizontal meetings, big fan. That's where you go take a nap in the middle of the day. My boss is watching. I've got other problems than her finding out I do horizontal meetings. Or I've got opportunities, depending on what part of the show she's enjoying. Anyway,
It's much easier to nap since you're working from home, huh?
I think, one of the things that I'm doing is really making sure that I'm tapping into my creative side. Whether it's something as silly as on a video game like 7 Days to Die,
Oh, yeah, having fun with that.
and building a base or something like that, or finishing the polyamory dating guide, almost there, that book.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I'm doing to take care of myself, making sure that I stay. Oh, you know what else I'm doing is I'm texting. I have a list of 8-9 people that I try and keep in touch with.
Yep.
And that's just the people on my list. Just touching out, reaching out to Barrick every once in a while and saying, hey, dude, I see Barrick every day at where the space was alive, right? So just reaching out and saying, hey, I'm not ready to go do lunch today, but how's your pet chicken?
He doesn't have a pet chicken.
Well, I'm not a very good conversationalist. I just need something to talk about. So there you go.
Yeah, so no, that's a great idea. I've been doing the same thing. And one of the things that I also make sure to do is to reach out to other presenters, because I've had a few presenters reach out to me and go, you know what? It's so quiet. No one's talking to me. I'm used to being at events, and now I'm home alone. And and I told him, I said, I think it's because people think you already have a network, and you're a presenter. So who are they to reach out to you? Sort of pedestal thing. And they're like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, I know. What the hell? So if you think of it and you have a favorite podcaster or presenter or something like that, and you know how to get up with them on FET, just reach out and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be a major conversation. Just say, hey, was thinking of you. Haven't seen you this year. How you holding up?
And this is what, scrolling back to our little Kick channel, those presenters that you guys really dig, be it's Lee Harrington or Jack Ranella or whoever it is that you say, oh my gosh, they're my favorite presenter. I love their book or I love whatever they do, right? They're just fucking peeps.
Yeah.
They're just people, right? They are dealing with the same shit that you are.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they deal with it worse because many presenters that I know are these weird mixes of intro extrovert, right? Where mainly they're an introvert, but they need to be out there in front of the stage on occasion to be a little extroverted. And then, well, I guess, they're not getting that
They're
shit.
not getting that, so they need it some way else. So if it's just a hi, how you doing, man, that can perk somebody up for days.
So, Dawn, same kind of question.
Okay.
Here we are. I'm working from home. I'm underfoot 24/7. You're not used to that,
I'm not
right?
used to that.
And we have gotten we're fairly relaxed already, power exchange wise, right?
I don't know that I would use casual. Informal.
At home.
Maybe at home, yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky, right? It's
we
not like
still know our dynamic. I was just saying this on the submissive chat that I just had about an hour and a half ago on Zoom. And Arcane and Miss Brenda, he's with Miss Brenda, and we were saying the same thing in that we're not high protocol at home. We still know who's the boss. You could come in at any time, even while I'm on that Zoom chat, and say, Dawn, you're done.
Yep.
Come serve me. And that's the way it is. But we're not high protocol at home. So
that's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to wait to eat until I eat. You don't have to ask permission to use the restroom.
Right.
It's just, you don't like the word casual. We're not high protocol, whatever you want to say. Informal then.
Yeah.
But what are you doing then to feed your power exchange, right? Because what we normally do is when we go to events, that gives us the opportunity, right? Great example. You mentioned the other day you haven't worn your collar in a long fucking time.
I know. And then what did we do that day that we put it on?
We were doing one of these video
Zoom
things.
calls. It was one of these video things, yeah. And then what I do is actually what we did later that day. So go ahead.
So, but that's the question.
Oh,
right?
What am I doing to feed it?
To feed that power exchange, right?
So, part of what I'm doing is I'm baking right now, right? So I'm baking, and every time I bake something, I have to ask myself, is this really serving you or not? But I put some aside for you. So I have a little box that's going on that's just for Dan, so he gets a little bit of everything that I'm doing. I just made banana breads. So now you're getting the odd-shaped ones,
right.
but you're still getting a bit of everything that I do. And the thing behind that is that anybody could do that with a partner, but I have that intent. Right? I'm not just doing this for my partner. I'm doing this for Master Dan, right? Making this thing. But the other thing that we're doing is we're actually participating in a Zoom call once a week. And this Zoom call is with other Power Exchange couples. And we're not the oldest ones there. As in, we've been doing Power Exchange for 21-ish. Not just age-wise.
Age-wise, but length of time in power exchange.
Right. So we've been doing this for like 21 years, and there's another couple that's been doing it for 19 or 20, but then there's a couple that's been doing it for like 35, 37, something like that. And I've actually got to sit next to them while I was judging a power exchange contest, and we were both judges. But even though we were sitting next to each other, we didn't have time to actually talk, right, or get to know each other. So so now we get to do that, and we get to discuss each person's dynamics and how they do things, and it's actually pretty cool. And I actually thanked the dominants on our last call because I'm like, I wasn't really sure what to expect, but that was only our second call when I said this. The first call, all the masters, all the dominants were talking about how empowered their slaves were and how they can trust them with this and do this, and how and everybody really seemed to look up to their slave, their submissive. And I don't know how else to word that, because you would think that's kind of the way things should be done, but it's not always been my experience in this life. So anyway, so we're doing this call, and the topics are just amazing. So, it puts me back into the headspace of Power Exchange because I'm chatting with other people that live Power Exchange. So we can use the lingo, we can use the words. If someone mentions punishment, you don't have the big eyes of, oh my God, you punish your partner sort of thing.
You don't have to sit there and explain what you mean by
Yeah.
punishment, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's really
Cool.
been feeding me.
Now,
I like that.
If I asked you, is Purple Dreams a Pokemon, what would you say?
Purple Dreams a Pokemon? No.
Okay, cool. Because Purple Dreams is one of the people on our chat, and they say, I caught you live. Oh, wait, does that make us Pokemon?
That would make us Pokemon.
Oh. I don't see any big fucking balls. You play Pokemon.
Well,
I don't.
Oh.
A couple people in the chat mentioned they missed the submissive roundtable. Dawn, how do they catch it next time?
So we just did that today at 3:30 Eastern. So it's been a Columbus group for a while, and before it was a AIS Columbus group. I actually ran it at the room, and but I pulled in the other Columbus facilitators, and so me and Arcane and Shane and Spanky, we're all going to be facilitating it. We're going to do it once a month. I think we've decided it's going to be an hour, and it's going to be the same afternoon as this live podcast. So FetLife.
You mentioned it was a Columbus group, but you told me earlier that now it's an international group.
It's international now. So, but we decided so far that you can find out more on the FET group Ohio Slave Chat. So even though it's international right now,
can they just follow you?
Or they can just follow me, Dan Zarani. So on FET, and I'll have the events listed there. I don't have the next one up yet for January, but I will. And we're still looking at topics, and it's really good stuff. We had some really good stuff. We had people from all over the country today. It was only like 12 of us, but we had people all over the country and somebody from Austria, and that was just really cool.
Good.
So to have it international, and people are really craving that right now because either they're not living with their partners or they are, and things have shifted. You know, dynamics have shifted a little bit, or they're casual like us, and they're trying to figure out how to make it uncasual, at least for times.
Cool. And Dawn, I understand, and somebody in the chat just mentioned and reminded me you had your first Eros Gathering as well.
I did.
Is that something you're going to keep doing?
I'm going to keep doing that as well. So Eros Gathering, what that is just trying to come up with titles for these groups are kind of complicated, right?
I love Eros Gathering. That's
Eros Gathering, yes. So it's about sacred sexuality. And I just had the first one, a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about energy dynamics and energy and sacred sexuality and what sacred sexuality was, and some of my experiences with ritual, and then having the goal of no goal and mindfulness and all that type of stuff. So we pretty much did a sacred sexuality beginner's guide. So I've got another one coming up, and we do have dates listed here. But,
oh, shit. Look at this.
My next one coming up is going to be January 14th, and that is going to be on psychic hygiene.
And that's an Eros Gathering.
That's an Eros Gathering. So, and psychic hygiene, anybody that is aware of energy, I highly recommend learning things like grounding, cleansing, centering, cutting cords, all that type of stuff. I teach that to all my Reiki students. I teach that to anybody that takes, any of my energy classes. Like I said, once you become aware, you can become overwhelmed. So I like people to know how to take care of themselves once they start working with energy.
Awesome.
So that would be the second one. And that is on January 14th, which is a Thursday evening.
Cool.
So, and it's only an hour long, so it's not.
And, that feels like one of the things you're doing to feed yourself.
Absolutely. Same with the submissive roundtable that I did today. That was so feeding to see people that I knew from Columbus. I mean, Mocha was on there. There was some Columbus people in there that I've not seen since March. There was new people. The Eros Gathering was amazing with people. OWL, I'm running OWL, which is Older Women in Alternative Lifestyles. So I was actually kind of afraid that I was putting too much on my platter because I tend to overdo it sometimes. Mm-hmm. So I've really taken my time and have really thought about it to see if these are things I want to do, because with a couple of them, people are like, yeah, go ahead and do it. And then like today's, they didn't show up. So I learned a long time ago with my spirit group that even if someone suggests that I do something, I'm not going to do it unless I know it feeds me too.
Right.
And that way, if they don't show up, it's
yeah.
no big deal because I'm still doing it for me. So
Cool.
yeah, so it was a blast, and I'll continue to do it. Eros Gathering, the sub chat.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make a comment, and I'm going to say something. And for those who are doing the live chat with us today, welcome. Glad you're here.
Yes.
You can only respond with a single word. For fuck's sake, no spoilers, because I hate a fucking spoiler. We just finished The Mandalorian. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but I'm curious, for those who are in the chat, if you've watched The Mandalorian, if you finished it, a one-word response, and we'll share those. But I have, speaking of The Mandalorian,
Just don't give anything
I'm
away.
not giving anything away.
Okay.
Except for I'm going to tell you this. I mean, it's not a spoiler. It is we didn't fucking know this. So, Dawn, you know how with the Marvel movies, there's a stinger at the end, right? You got to sit through the credits, and then you get this little stinger.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Disney bought Marvel. Disney owns Star Wars. So now at the end of The Mandalorian, there's a stinger.
Yes, and we didn't know that because
we didn't know that.
We were trying. You had something to do yesterday, so we were trying to get through the couple of episodes we hadn't seen. And then as soon as we were done, we turned it off and went and did our thing. And everybody's like, "Oh, so you finished it? What do you think of the stinger?"
Right.
What do you mean? What do I think of the stinger? And now Dan's not home. I can't even watch the stinger. I have to wait for Dan to get home.
Right. So
I would have gotten in trouble. That would have been punishment, I think. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, but it would have been fucking rude. The reason I bring this up is because one of our presenter friends is a cat named Master So-and-so out of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. His name is literally Master So-and-so.
Yes.
I love it.
And I don't want to mention what social media platform this was on, but I said, wait, I didn't know there's a stinger. And he told me what the stinger was.
What?
He said, it's this. He didn't say specifically. He didn't give me any details, but he said, it's this thing.
Oh.
Yeah, man. You don't do that. You don't do that. But I am such a dick about I mean, and I have a long-term girlfriend that I would say, oh, you already saw that show. Don't tell me anything about it.
Don't say if it was good. Don't say if it was bad.
And they'd be like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll love it. And I was like, all right, you're ruining it right now. That is a spoiler
because
for me.
it's an expectation.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody telling me that Wonder Woman was the greatest DC movie of all time doesn't help my expectation going in. All right, it was a good DC movie. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, but when you set expectations, you end up waiting for that moment that they think that you're really going to like, and you don't pay attention to the rest of it.
So, Dawn,
yes.
I have here's an interesting question.
Okay.
Actually, let's do a Kickstarter card.
Okay. Instead of your question?
Yeah, I have my question. We'll come back to it.
I don't think we've been pulling out the cards we've been
No,
using.
but then they shuffled back in.
Here's the rules. Okay. So we do a couple of different Zoom things, so we end up using these for a couple of different things. Okay, so
no cheating.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm not. Here, just pick one.
I'm going to take this one.
There you go.
You got to give yourself one, but don't look at it
I got
yet.
to give myself one? Okay. There we go.
All right. I'm going to show the audience first.
Are you now?
The secret is... Oh, sorry, guys.
But we can't even see if they can see it.
No, we can't. There's this neat little delay that maybe 10 seconds from now I'll find out what you actually saw.
Oh,
Dawn?
there it is. And it's upside down.
Yes. There we go. Dawn, how do you feel about orgasm control?
Love it. I really do. You know why? Because it's power exchange. It is somebody dominating me. Whether it's taking the orgasm away or orgasm over and over and over again, it's power. Mm-hmm. And that's what turns me on.
Okay.
Is someone being in charge.
We've talked about your desire, your enjoyment of orgasm control before.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can take that one and it's in the done pile.
So that one is. Okay, so let's see if I can do this one right, maybe. Like I said, there's a delay, so we can't really tell. All right, so Dan.
Yes.
Breast and nipple torture. Not just play, because there's a different card for that, but torture.
So specifically, suggestions include biting, slapping, flicking, pinching, and clamping. Giving.
Yes, giving.
For me.
For you. Yes.
Giving, yes. I'm down for all that. Also, when I do nipple play when I do rough nipple play or nipple torture, I have a tooth right here.
You do.
And the tooth, for whatever reason, this is not, I did not file it, but it's got a sharp fang on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my nipple
That's your
biting
go-to
tooth.
for, yes.
Big fan of the nipple and breast torture. One of the things that we learned, and if you are a fan of nipple torture and you don't know this one, and we heard it somewhat later in life, is nobody ever goes after the underside of the breast, right? So grab that breast and lift it up high and go after the underside.
So tender.
Yeah, people don't think about that one. And that one is one that for years and years never occurred to me. And so we learned that at a AIS event, one of the Winter Wickedness events.
Nice.
And the funny thing is I went to the nipple play and the nipple torture class thinking, how the fuck do you get 75 minutes out of this? And
oh, there's a lot.
yeah,
So,
there was a lot.
And just like, and it doesn't have to be nipple for me. It can be breast, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be nipples. It's breast, like you said. So like when we played the other night, you went for the nipples, and then at one point you grabbed my boobs. I put my hands on top of yours so you wouldn't stop doing it. I don't know if that's topping from the bottom or what, but I wanted more.
Hey, I'm down for communication.
Yes, I love the squeezing. Look, I can see my picture. I love the squeezing of the boobs. And it's just, oh, it's so hot. It's
good.
But I like cupcake boobs too. I like that pressure. So
that is the one rope tie. I'm not a rope guy. That I did at least get it right. Cake boobs, but I could only do it with coconut rope, and the reason is coconut rope is very grabby. It doesn't slide. Coconut for me
it bites itself.
Yeah, for me, cupcake. And what we're saying is using rope to tie the breast in around, right?
Yeah.
And the rope for me, when I do it, it slips off pretty easily. So I have to be somewhat. The coconut rope just makes it help a lot. I am no good at rope. Trust me.
So, well, my boobs are the type that it comes off easily too. So I love the coconut rope. Plus, like I said, it bites.
All right, so here's the other question prior to that.
Okay, all right.
So you remember Ignixia, who we've had present for us before.
Yes.
And we've gone and presented for them down into Florida. They asked a question recently, and I didn't stick around to see what the answers were, so I thought I'd ask you.
Okay.
What are you doing to prepare, or are you preparing for the post-COVID world? How are you getting as a presenters, right? So if you're new to the podcast, Dawn and I, in general, present about 16 times a year around the nation at different events, right?
Had a cat. Oh, you had a cat right behind you looking over your shoulder.
Something pussies into everything. I don't know. But, of course, over the last 12 months, we haven't done any presenting. And we have nothing. We had a bunch of shit lined up that got canceled, got postponed.
Oh, my God. Even my vulva circles got canceled. I was so excited about those.
And, of course, people are reaching, people, when they cancel, they say, hey, maybe next year, do you mind if we reach out? And that's great, but who knows?
Right.
Right. So we had it to the point where we were pretty automatic for 12 events. There's some events, a couple in Chicago, a couple other events where we were just, they don't even invite us anymore. It's just automatic. You guys are going to be here 6 months. When the event ends, they're like, all right, 6 months is the next event. You're booked.
We'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, we'll see you in 6 months. So the slate is clean. Nobody even fucking knows who we are anymore. We've lost all of our presenter momentum. Are you worried about that? Are you focused on that? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to start putting things in place?
Actually, I want to make sure that we stay relevant.
Yep.
That's the word right now. I want to make sure that we stay relevant. We have a book coming out. I am editing a second book that'll go to our Patreon supporters. And we're doing the live podcast. We're doing the regular podcast. We're doing the Zoom calls. We're doing the workshops. We're doing things for our Patreon supporters. So we're trying to stay out there and keep our name as relevant as possible, because I want to do events again, and I don't want to be forgotten as an option for events. So, and in my head, the only way to do that is to keep our name out there. So I've been doing a lot of work almost every day to make sure we're on Twitter, make sure we're on Instagram, even if it's just pictures of our cats or me in my Yeti pajamas, and things like that. And that may sound kind of weird, But I really wish I could figure out TikTok and how to make some things like that work, because there's people out there on those platforms that I've never heard of before, people have never heard of before, but they're out there. So now they're getting known, whether they haven't been vetted. So we don't know if it's good information or not. Right. So, yeah.
One of the things that you'd asked earlier, how are you feeding myself, right? Taking care of myself. And one of the things that we do, see, we're getting, somebody in our chat said, I missed the round table and I'm really sad about that, right? And my immediate thought was, Jesus, you should reach out to us. Toss us an email. Let's get on a Zoom. Let's chat, right?
Oh, that's already in the works with that person. Oh, I just haven't given them dates. They're the one I was asking you about.
Oh, I know who that is then.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
But that's, what feeds us is, we're not suggesting other people that are out there presenting and doing podcasts and blah, blah, blah are skilled or unskilled. But we do know that some of the people that are out there, because we've seen some of them, and specifically Dawn showed me some of these TikTok stars talking BDSM, talking power exchange, and they're talking shit, right? You can tell. Yeah. I don't think that there's bad intent. They're just unskillful. They don't know what the heck they're talking. That's a judgment, right? But we want to provide an alternative view. We want to provide that. That's kind of what feeds us, is being able to provide information, provide the experience, provide, the reason that we've had, for every bad poly relationship that we've had, for every failed aspect of our personal power exchange, the value in that is that we get to give that back to you guys. Because the reality is, the experience of how to do polyamory, how to do power exchange, that comes from us fucking it up.
Oh, yeah.
And we get value from sharing that with you guys. So
how can we write a tool book? Because we did shit where we needed tools. Yeah. And we had to come up with stuff.
So this idea of staying relevant, that's what that means, right? Getting out there, being able to be available in the COVID world, being available in the post-COVID world too. And it's fun. Fuck it, to be honest, it's really fun to go out there and present and travel and meet people and get to hang out with people. And I'm looking forward to not only doing that, but meeting some of our new podcast listeners that have joined us in the last year.
Yeah.
Right? That because of being stuck at home, maybe they found, I better watch YouTube and find us that way or something. I don't know.
So, yeah. So I actually want to do we've had so much happen in 2020 that I'm kind of looking forward to the 2020 wrap up, because we are only a couple of weeks away from 2021 and things aren't going to be like fixed right away in 2021 like some people are acting like, but I want to be prepared for a new year, right? So maybe there's a different energy I want to focus on. Maybe there's something I'm like, oh, I should have been focusing on that, but really didn't during 2020 because I was surviving. So, and try to think of what it is. Yep. I talked to one woman on the submissive roundtable that we just did. She attends 4 Zoom calls at least a day. A day. There are that many going on FET.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm. So she was actually excited the roundtable was only an hour because she had something on either side of it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So there's plenty of opportunities to learn things and be out there.
Yeah. And all that shit's good. No, we're not suggesting it's not good. Same with us, right? Well, we used to say this a lot when we were presenting, take what you need and leave the rest. And assume we're full of shit until you try it out for yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do that for everybody, whether it's a presenter at a kink event or,
or even writings on FET, because there's a new person that's been reaching out to me just in the last couple of days, and they sent me a link to a writing that was done on FET. And I read that writing and I went, oh, no, that's not what I would recommend at all. Who's writing this stuff, and just from experience, and they're like, oh, this is what all new people need to know. And I read it and I'm like, dude, let me talk to you for a little bit and tell you what real life is like.
So, Dawn, I see this teacup here has the old octopus on it then.
Yes.
Did you get any tentacles in the mail? Is that something that still happens in COVID land?
I do, yeah. So people, the picture turned out great. So people have been sending me tentacle stuff again, thank goodness. So this one was actually really cute. So God damn it, Adam, you know who that is, and Casey, so a local person, sent me a chainmail octopus mask. So it's actually kind of like a hat that you put on, but so chainmail. So think of chainmail, and it goes over your head and it comes down your face, and then you've got the tentacles,
Okay.
chainmail tentacles that hang off of it. So that was really cute. And then
Side note: I've worn chainmail. The shit's heavy. I don't know.
it
how
is,
those...
it is. And then somewhat, it really is, unless it's like aluminum. Maybe it's lighter if it's aluminum.
I don't know.
And then Dolly, who's also local, sent me a picture of octopus earrings, which were really cute. And then someone who, I didn't write their name down, sorry, I'll have to look it up. But it's like a octopus scarf that they sent me, but it's an octopus that wraps around your neck, but each of its legs has I'm not even sure. Remember the subby binders that we used to have? So they were like foam, but they had like metal in it that you could bend. That's what these legs have in it. So the legs can actually hold things. So they had someone wearing it, and one leg had the person's glasses, the other leg had its phone, the other leg had its, I don't know, comb or something. So all the legs are usable. So that's cute too. Can you imagine an octopus scarf? This one's got a flogger. This one's got a cane. This one's got a dildo. That would work. That could be my toy bag.
No.
No?
I just picture you bringing your toy bag down through the elevator in the hotel. Probably wouldn't work.
Probably wouldn't work.
And before we leave that topic too far, what we were talking about, somebody on the chat says their advice to newcomers: if get a can of One True Wayism repellent. And really, I'm digging that one too. And that would probably be a good topic too, right?
Which,
as a newcomer, what are the things I need to know, and what do I need to be worried about? And what are those things, right? If somebody tells you this is the way it is, it's got to be this way. Well, you should probably question that, right? Give it the second thought anyway.
Well, the little short piece of that is that someone was telling newcomers that all newcomers should not be scening unless they have something to bring to the scene. And I kind of get what they're saying, but they're saying, so as a newcomer, they literally said this, as a newcomer, you have nothing to offer in a scene, so therefore do not ask. As a newcomer bottom, specifically, as a newcomer bottom, you have nothing to offer in a scene, so don't ask. And I'm like, what the hell?
Don't ask what?
Don't ask to play, because you have nothing to offer. And I'm like, oh, Dan doesn't work like that. I didn't work like that as a newbie. My advice
for a newcomer bottom is the exact opposite.
Right.
Be super picky, because you are going to be viewed by a lot of dominants as fresh meat. And they want to be the first ones there, and they want to be your new, whoever the guy from 50 Shades of Grey is. They want to be that person that leads you into, you know.
But this dominant was saying just the opposite, that because you have nothing to offer, that you shouldn't even be asking to play. And I'm like, oh, I got different thoughts on that. So watch what you read. Take it with a grain of salt.
Now, what we would say is it's very important to learn how to negotiate, right?
Yes.
You have to be able to whether you're an old timer or a newcomer, is you have to be able to say, here's what I want, and in such a way that sets up some boundaries, especially as a newcomer, because way too many stories, and I'm not saying it's super prevalent, but there's way too many stories of that I've heard from inexperienced bottoms who said, you know what, I wanted a flogging, and I got, going back all the way, to finger banging, right? I didn't think that was going to be part of the scene. It's like, it's not part of the scene.
Unless
right? Unless you've explicitly said, please, for fuck's sake, don't say anything, but unless you've explicitly, you should be able to say, that's what the skill, right? You have to learn here's how to negotiate what you want, and to make sure that you're confident in saying, here's what I want, so that it's clear what you don't want, right? And being able to speak up and say no during a scene, right? Also very important.
Yeah, absolutely. You can withdraw consent at any time, and I don't think newbies actually realize that. We were actually thinking about talking about consent for this podcast, and then wasn't sure it would flow too well. So that's not a bad idea to do that one again, because there's different ways of negotiating. There's using the kink starter cards, right, as a beginning. There's ways of negotiating things in, ways of negotiating things out.
Tapping down that slave crave. Another topic that we'll be doing shortly is how are you going to get yourself back into the scene, right? How are you going to because the reality is, folks, when the doors are open, people who haven't gotten a hug, people who haven't got a scene, they're going to go nuts. And
I'm writing this down.
Good. It's a little scary. Hey, here's a thing I don't normally say during our podcast. Like us on YouTube.
Ooh, or subscribe, because when you subscribe, you get. So what do they say? Hit the subscribe button and click the little bell so that you get notification when we're live again.
We watch a lot more YouTube than we participate in giving YouTube. Dawn, name a YouTube channel. What are you watching on YouTube?
What am I watching? Oh my gosh, Robert. Nope, can't think of his last name. He's very much about keto and intermittent fasting. Dr. Ken Berry, who's also keto and intermittent fasting. Those are the two big ones right now. Otherwise, I listen to music.
You're using YouTube to learn.
I'm using YouTube to learn.
That's good.
I also, you taught me about, I keep looking up because that's where the screen is. What is it called? Lo-fi? Lo-fi music?
Yeah.
So I've been watching/listening to a lot of lo-fi. And then the band The Who, H-U, oh my God, they're the Mongolian rockers.
Digging the music.
Oh,
digging the videos.
Music. Yes.
The lo-fi channel is something somebody turned us on to on YouTube, where what it is, it's a drawing, it's a animation of a girl sitting at a desk writing.
With her headset on.
With her headset on. And she has a cat next to her, and she has little googly eyes on her headset. And she is sitting there writing the whole time. But they play this lo-fi in the background. So it's this super mellow music with this, just something you can look up and
watch every now and then.
Right? But it doesn't take your attention.
No.
So if you're trying to get something else done, it's pretty cool.
Because she has the headset on, you kind of think you're listening to what she's listening to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So here's some other YouTube ideas you can check out. There's a dude named Z Frank. He does True Facts.
Oh, Cumberbun. DJ Cumberbun.
Dawn's digging the DJ Cumberbun.
He mixes music and videos. So
go see for yourself.
Charlie Daniels Band and WAP, Wet Ass Pussy, WAP.
Yeah. Tells you how unhip we are. But I know who Charlie Daniels Band is anyway. So Z Frank is True Facts. Oh, and I don't really watch any of the late night guys anymore. But Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon Mad Lib Theater, Jimmy Fallon's Kid Theater, and Jimmy Fallon. There's one other Jimmy Fallon bits that I like.
Oh, who's the British dude that we like to watch different clips of?
Oh, and Graham Norton.
Graham Norton. Oh
if I were going to watch a talk show, Graham Norton is the bomb. I love the Graham Norton. Just the way they do their talk show in Britain is so less. I just enjoy it more. So if you're looking for something to watch on YouTube and you don't have, and we only have like 3 Tubecast, I don't know what the fuck
I love watching the chat because we're talking about energy and then true wayism and then sub frenzy and then mashups, DJ Cumberbun.
And Wax Audio apparently is another one you should check out, Dawn.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Okay. So that may well be it for today.
Oh, no, we got workshops coming up. So let me go over those real fast. Okay.
We're going to do every other one.
All right.
Go.
So monthly workshop on January 3rd is our next Zoom monthly workshop. That's open to anybody. That is going to be on the polyamory dating guide. So our book should be really close to being back from the printer by then.
Okay. For our Patreon people, let's chat about dating profiles. We're going to talk about how to create a dating profile, if that's something you're digging.
That's on January 10th. And my next Eros Gathering is January 14th, like I said, which is psychic hygiene.
Then another live podcast, except for we'll actually have a topic this time on January 17th.
The next slave/sub chat is January 17th.
As well,
right.
Okay.
I do that right before the podcast.
And then older women of alternative leather lifestyle, OWL, I call it, January 28th, beauty routines. I'll be not attending.
No, that's for women only, and we make people turn their videos on. So, I get guys trying to join all the time, but sorry, guys, you have to be a woman and over 50.
If you want to see what Dawn looks like in a onesie, then you can find us on Instagram and see the picture of a day as Erotic Awakening. But even more interesting than that.
Yes?
Recently, if you followed Dawn on FetLife, Dan Zerani. Why did you shit that?
Because I'm an introverted exhibitionist. I just wrote about that.
Well, you'll be able to see Dawn's exhibitionist side. Dawn posted a bunch of pictures of herself.
I did, and I tried to channel Bat, and anybody that knows Bat will know what I mean, in that I'm good at like standing against the wall and taking a selfie sort of thing. She's good at looking at textures and curves and stuff like that. So I tried to think about what she would have done if she was taking our pictures again, or my picture, and I think I've come up with some pretty good shots.
Feel free to add Dawn on the FetLife, Dan Zerani. Feel free to add me on FetLife. I am on there as Daniel Bellum. You can also find Dan and Dawn on FetLife as Dan and Dawn.
Exactly.
That's where you get to find out. If you weren't writing down when all these workshops and shit are coming up, that's where you'll find out about them.
Yep, I got events on FetLife, so they're all up there. So rate us on Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
And if you like what we're doing, head over to patreon.com/eroticawakening.
Or don't.
And take a look at the options for discounted stuff, extra content, and more. I've actually got 2 things I want posted on there for our Patreon supporters.
Our next Zoom meeting is January 10th. The topic is Let's Chat About Dating Profiles. That info will go out to the Patreon page before long.
Thanks for joining us on here, everybody. It was a blast.
Don't forget to like, thumbs
up, subscribe, bells, all that sort of stuff.
Do this thing.
Do the
thing.
thing.
Bye, Dawn.
Bye, Dan.